Today we're gonna go over 5 places to live when you move here to Hawaii, when you move to Oahu. You're thinking about moving to the island and you don't really know any of the places, you don't know any local people. Well, pro tip number 1, now you know me. Reach out, connect with me, ask me your questions. So I'm your local contact on island. Grew up here, was raised here, graduated high school, spent 4 years, went to the Coast Guard, came back, and now I'm your local real estate connection. Hey guys, welcome back to another video with Derek Okahashi on moving to Hawaii, moving to Oahu. Today we're gonna go over 5 different neighborhoods that you may like, 5 communities, 5 sides of the island that you might like here on Oahu. Number 1 is towns. We say town, like people in San Francisco or New York would say the city. So this island is Honolulu County. So in Maui, there's Maui County, and on the Big Island, there's Hawaii County. Here on Oahu, it's Honolulu County, but don't get tricked in thinking that the whole island is Honolulu. With local people, when we're thinking of Honolulu, we're thinking of town. If you're gonna live next to all the action, maybe you don't wanna own a car. We have a thing here called hui, where you just pick up the car and drive it when you wanna drive. Maybe you wanna be able to Uber around, walk around to different shops, walk to Aloha Beach Park to exercise and swim laps, be able to walk to bars and nightlife, Aloha shopping center, things like that. Town's gonna be the best spot for you. Maybe you're going to the University of Hawaii, you're working at a hospital in town. Maybe you're in PCS, the Coast Guard Air Station, Barbers Point. One of my clients right now, he just wants contemporary living in a building. You know, he wants to be high up, he wants to have an ocean view, an elevator, a lobby, a pool, amenities. Those are the kind of things that he wants in a home. Town's probably gonna be the best place, maybe in KAKA'AKO specifically. In town, if you're looking for condominium living, if you're looking to live in a tower and really be able to walk to trendy restaurants and trendy bars, have young professionals or middle-aged professionals eating organic salads and having nice single pour coffees and avocado toast, right there in KAKA'AKO in town is probably gonna be your go-to. Now, when we're saying town, we're also talking about the more Mauka communities to an extent. So there's Manoa, there's Nu'uanu, the places towards the mountains, these valleys that have single family homes. We'll do specific videos on all those different places in the future. So town doesn't necessarily mean condo buildings where you're in an elevator, parking's $800 a month, and maintenance fees are $2,000 a month. Maybe you want to live in town because you hate commuting. So if you're going to be working at Queens Hospital, Straub, Kapilani Children's, in the financial district in downtown Honolulu, in the tourism industry in Waikiki, then town might be the best place for you because you don't want to commute. Commuting here can really suck. With that being said, being that commuting can suck, I'm gonna jump all the way to the southwest side of the island and talk about Ewa Beach, Kapolei. So if you just want more square footage, maybe you don't have to worry about commuting because maybe you aren't commuting all the way into downtown, into town. Maybe you don't have to worry about commuting because you're not going all the way to town, or maybe just commuting's not a big deal for you. So we connected with Lisa and Mike recently. They're like, commuting doesn't really bother us. We're used to long commutes. Some people are coming from LA, Virginia, the Bay Area, Seattle, like places where commuting can be a lot worse. And I think here in Hawaii, you know, we feel a little spoiled with the commute because we feel like you shouldn't have that kind of traffic here, right? If you want more square footage, maybe a more recent built home, 90s and after, 2000s and after, in the 2010s, and even later than that, then Ewa Beach, Kapolei, those are gonna be your zones. I would include Makakilo when I say Kapolei. Makakilo is the mountain above Kapolei. The difference in Ewa and Kapolei, I mean, it really has to do with city zoning and us making up our own human imaginary lines. In terms of the weather, you know, the vibe, the shopping, Ewa Beach and Kapolei aren't too different, but you are gonna experience more traffic in both. That's the sacrifice you're gonna make to get more square footage, a more modern built home at a lower price per square foot on average. That doesn't mean that homes in Ewa Beach or Kapolei are necessarily cheap all the time. Hawaii as a whole, our median home value right now has jumped up to $978,000 here in the year 2021 in summer. Our home's cheap, the price per square foot, the size of the home, what you get for your dollar. Some would say that you get more in a Ewa Beach Kapolei home. You know, any metropolitan area, any metro area, in the city, price per square foot is just always, you know, higher. And when you go out to the suburbs like Ewa Beach, Kapolei, further out, price per square foot is going to be lower, but you get more house. So maybe you need a garage. You know, maybe you want to be a part of a community of single family homes, but there is a swimming pool. Maybe you want to make sure that you're really close to a shopping and a Costco. But maybe you want suburb living, but you want to be by the beach. Maybe you have a dog. A lot of our military clients who are coming are like, you know what, we're either going to end up living in base housing or we're going to get a home that can support my husband and I and our 3 kids. So we need at least 3 bedrooms, preferably 4, with a yard for our dogs because it's hard to rent in Hawaii when you have dogs. If all of those things sound like they apply to you, then Ewa Beach, Kapolei, up into Makakilo, those might be your ticket. You're only gonna be on Hawaii for a little bit of time, or maybe you're gonna be here forever, but you want some majestic mountain views. You wanna be close enough to where you can shoot over to nice, beautiful, world-class beaches, but you also just want to be encompassed in these amazing mountains. Then you're probably looking at the east side. So you're looking at KANEOHE and Kailua. Now, KANEOHE and Kailua are not the same thing. So check out our KANEOHE and Kailua videos, kind of get a different vibe for both of them. On the east side of Oahu, you just feel like you're on a different island. I feel like I'm on Kauai or something, or just a different place. Anytime I go over the H3, I can't help but to smile. Maybe FaceTime my dad and put the phone in the dashboard since dad's on the mainland. You know, by the way, in my Pro City video, I mentioned my dad told me I'm always nervous on these videos. He's like, chill out. I was like, I think I'm chilled out too much. I think I'm too relaxed. Like I asked you in the Pro City video, and same in this one. Let me know if I'm being too chill or if I'm not chill enough. Let me know if my dad's right. One thing you're gonna have to deal with though on KANEOHE more than most places is the rain. KANEOHE and Kailua both. That's the windward side of the island. More moisture, more rusting of your ceiling fans and all of that sort of stuff. Price per square foot, definitely higher. Homes tend to be older because KANEOHE and Kailua haven't been mass developed since the 70s probably. Maybe some development in the 80s, but mostly 50s, 60s, 70s built homes. So you're gonna get an older home with a more old Hawaii plantation type character and feel. Some of the most famous views in the world, I would say. You know, in our KANEOHE video, we showed some of the drone footage and some of the footage from the house up on the hill in Lilipuna, in Hui Manu and KANEOHE. And with the east side, maybe you want walkability. So I'm grouping KANEOHE and Kailua into one because we're calling it the east side. There is more north and more south to the east side, but KANEOHE and Kailua are the towns that people are usually asking me about when they're moving to Hawaii. In Kailua, you get a lot more walkability than anywhere else in the island except for, you know, of course, downtown Honolulu. Outside of town or downtown, Kailua is probably the most walkable town on the island. You can live in single family homes not too far from Kailua town, walk in and get a beer, do some yoga, get some coffee, go to a bookstore, eat Indian food, have some drinks at Maui Brewing, and then walk back home without having to even catch an Uber or ride your bike. You can also live in, you know, condos and townhomes really, really close to Kailua town. You can literally throw a rock into Kailua town. Kailua offers some of the best walkability with beaches like Lanikai, Kaneohe Bay. There's some secret ones. You know, if you're military, you can get onto the Marine Corps base, go to amazing beaches there. And, you know, there's still some shopping, right? In Kaneohe, Kailua, you have a Target in Kailua. You have to shoot into town to go to Costco or big things like that. If you've been watching our channel for a while, you know that I've mentioned it multiple times. Everyone in Hawaii, at least everyone with a family, has either a Costco card or a Sam's Club card. So that's why I mentioned the Costco and the relevance to that. If you're in the military, you have Kaneohe Marine Corps Base Commissary. You know, it's also a predictable commute into town. Usually you're somewhere around 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes, 30 minutes going home in the afternoon. There's multiple ways to get into Kaneohe and Kailua. You can jump on the H3 coming from Pearl Harbor Hickam. You can jump on the Likelike Highway. You can jump on the Pali going through Nu'uanu. And then if things were really bad, you can go around the North Shore or go around Diamond Head and Waimanalo and come that way as well. Commuting is really predictable because they're not developing the east side a bunch. They're not putting in, you know, 10,000 new people like they are in the middle of the island at Koa Ridge and gonna affect commute in that way. And there's multiple outlets and inlets into Kaneohe and Kailua. If you wanna be my neighbor, you wanna live in Mililani. So I actually live in Mililani Mauka. There's Mililani Town, Mililani Mauka. In our Mililani video, we went over both of them. We'll probably do some specific targeted videos of each one individually in the future. If you want a little bit of a more modern home, Mililani Town was built in the 70s and 80s. There are some in the 90s, but mostly 70s and 80s. Mililani Mauka built in the 90s to mid 2000s. That's where I live, in Mililani Mauka. So a little bit more modern build, you know. My house isn't on post and piers with a crawl space underneath and single wall. We actually have 2x4s and drywall and the modern construction, split air conditioning and stuff like that. So if you want to live in a community that has association across the entire expansive community, from Mililani Town to Mililani Mauka, everyone pays the $39 a month to be a party to the Mililani Town Association. It keeps the community looking a certain way. If you want a place with school ratings that are what the Mililani school ratings are, you know, we have to navigate those things a certain way when we're on this channel. If you want the school ratings that Mililani has to offer, if you want a community that has a bunch of rec centers, all of these swimming pools, if you want cooler weather, Mililani has some of the coolest weather on the island. Wahiawa being the coldest and most elevated part in the central part of the island, but Mililani is right there next to Wahiawa. If you also are willing to deal with a little bit of rain, now Mililani Town doesn't get as quite as much rain as Mililani Mauka is. Just on the other side of the freeway, we do get more rain than Mililani town. But both, if you're talking about suburbs out away from Honolulu, when you compare Ewa Beach and Kapolei to Mililani, Mililani is definitely rainy. My car's always dirty because it's always rain. You wash it, you're gonna go through rain again within that week, probably, most likely. On the flip side, sometimes I don't need air conditioning. You know, in Ewa Beach, there's central air because people are running their air conditioning all year round. In Mililani, I would say at least half the year I don't really need it if I don't want to use it. You know, Mililani offers central shopping. There's Mililani Town Center. There's several different shopping centers, gyms to work out in, restaurants to eat at, childcare near, churches if you want to go to churches. And if you're getting stationed at Pearl Harbor Hickam, if you're getting stationed at Schofield, depending on where you are in Mililani, you're maybe a 10-minute commute away. We could call it 15 to your unit once you get through the gate, 10 to 15 minutes to anywhere on Schofield from Mililani for the most part. But even if you're going to be at Pearl Harbor Hickam, the Mililani commute currently just isn't as bad as the Ewa Beach Kapolei commute. When you're coming down the H2 in the morning, trying to get on the H1 by Pearl City, there's just way more backup, way more energy coming from the west side trying to get through that H1, H2 merge. So you're going to deal with more traffic. Eventually, Mililani traffic is going to worsen. The Koa Ridge community, they're adding like 10,000 people or something like that to that community. So there is going to be added traffic and added energy, but I don't think it's ever going to be as bad as coming from the west side, coming from Ewa, Kapolei, Waianae. People say Mililani, they're usually talking about exit 6. You know, exit 6 is where you either go to Mililani Mauka or Mililani Town. 7 is Mililani Tech Park, Laulani, and then go to exit 8, that's Wahiawa. Usually we're talking about turn by the coconut tree and then turn by 7-Eleven. But I'm throwing out those exit numbers for you guys. There is Waikalani, which is like a valley in the back of Mililani behind 24 Hour Fitness. There is Laulani Valley, or Mililani Tech Park, which is still the 96789 zip code, but it's not zoned for Mililani schools. It's not part of Mililani Town Association. More modern built homes. Airplanes going over me. We mentioned in our second Ewa Beach video, that's just a part of living on this side of the island. You're in a flight path for sure. So if you want resort living, there are some notable mentions. You might be out towards Turtle Bay, the EA Point. Hawaii Kai as a whole has a bit of a resort feel, so check out our Hawaii Kai video. Makaha Valley, we actually, you know what? I'll be honest with you guys. All I did was change my shirt. Today we shot the Waianae video. I wanted to act like it was a different day. In Makaha Valley, we show some of that resort style living over there. There are a few notable mentions for resort style living, but I would have to say the quintessential like HGTV type resort style living here on the island would be at Ko'olina. Ko'olina, where I'm standing, it literally is a resort. In the distance, we have Disney Aulani, the Four Seasons. This is the Marriott. There's like certain lagoons and restricted parking, but there's also communities where people live. There's buildings where people invest and buy rentals where you can potentially rent short term. Make sure you call me. If that's your strategy, call me first because it's very specific on where you can rent only for 7 days or it has to be 30 days. But this is also a community where people live. Some of our media team actually lives here in Ko'olina. There's a preschool, Seagull Preschool. So there's a sports club, there's a boat harbor. You can keep your sailboat, your yacht right over here. Fishing, you know, you have your golf cart in your garage. You just catch the golf cart, go to a world-class golf course. Roy's at Ko'olina. Probably my favorite restaurant on the island. Our good friend is the manager there at Roy. So if you need reservations, let us know. We'll literally book those reservations for you and make sure you're taken care of. This is resort style living, tennis courts. The Four Seasons has Mina's Fish House. Pizza place is nice. Little shopette. There's island vintage coffee. Resort style living, I'd have to say Ko'olina is where it's at. Now what you are going to deal with that though is you're even further removed from Kapolei. Depending on where you live in Ko'olina, maybe go another 15 minutes at least, right? Because by the time I get into your house, from the front gate to your house is
like 5 minutes.
At least 5 minutes. So if you're driving the speed limit, at least 5 minutes. Go another 10-15 minutes past Kapolei and you're here in Ko'olina. So you're gonna deal with even increased traffic. You're gonna deal with a higher price point than most of Kapolei. You can't really consider this Kapolei in terms of price point. It's a different thing. You're living on a resort. There's a Four Seasons and Disney Aulani. Those are your neighbors, right? Another thing you're gonna deal with is higher maintenance fees. It just is what it is. If you wanna live on this, I mean, you live on this, you're dealing with a maintenance fee. There is a cost to keep this looking like this. I would say that in my experience, a lot of the people that choose to live in Ko'olina, not all, but a decent amount of the ones that I've met or that I've helped or looked at selling and buying with, even just friends, they're not necessarily commuting into town. So they're not making the choice to live here because they're going all the way to Honolulu to live. They have a different schedule or they have their own practice, their own business, whatever it is, they're able to design a life where they dictate their schedule, dictate whether or not they have to commute for the most part. And if you're going to design a life this isn't a bad place to do it. I hope that that video was helpful for you guys. Those 5 places to live when you move to Hawaii, when you move to Oahu. Some notable mentions. So we went through town, so the Honolulu metro area, town. We went over to Ewa Beach, Kapolei, Makakilo. Further out suburbs, price per square foot lower, more house, more yard for your dogs and your family, but more commute. We went to the east side, KANEOHE, Kailua. 2 different things, but kind of same pocket, a little bit of the same vibe, but definitely 2 different things. Watch those videos. We went over to Mililani. You know, Mililani, centrally located. Commute not as bad as Ewa Beach. Maybe commute not as good as Kailua to, you know, in terms of going to downtown. One big Mililani Town Association, keeping everything looking kind of the same. Townhomes, condos, and single family homes built from the 70s into the 2000s. Cooler weather, better commute, and you be my neighbor. And then we came over here to Ko'olina for resort living. Then you'll be neighbors with our media team. Hope this video is helpful for you guys. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you press like. That engagement really lets us know that you guys are watching. It gives us the incentive and the motivation to keep doing this. So we're gonna go over cost of living, show you some more neighborhoods, do all of that stuff next. Let us know what you wanna see. Or give us the feedback or give us the request in the comments. Go on my website, derekokahashi'com, fill out the contact form. I love hearing from you guys. I love connecting, learning about your goals, your timelines, what you're looking for. Some people prefer to check out the real person. Like, is this guy a real guy? So you can check me out on Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that. I'm most active on Instagram. We have a whole team ready to take care of you guys and connect with you guys. I'll see some of you guys this summer. Shout outs to everyone who's hit me up that we're gonna meet up and maybe have a drink or a coffee or connect on a Zoom. Anyways, thank you guys so much again. I'm gonna see if we have time to jump in the water. I'm gonna enjoy this resort style living that I don't actually live in. But before I head back to Mililani, I'm gonna check this place out. Aloha, guys.